the presentation to everybody, and I am so excited to see you guys. What a great turnout. Thank you all for coming. And another important announcement, we're going to try and get you out of here a little bit earlier because the bar closes at 6. And, being from Fort Myers Beach, what can I say? We all have our priorities, okay? So we'll get started now in about 2 minutes. So this is your 2-minute warning. Yeah. I know I'm a midget, so this makes it tough. Okay, so we're going to get started in 1 minute. Everybody grab a seat. Okay. Time for my glasses. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. It's wonderful to see all of you today. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it. For the inaugural meeting of Let's Go Fort Myers Beach. Okay. Yeah. We're all here. We started this actually like a week ago with meetings. And can you hear me? Oh, who am I? I'm not telling anybody. My name is Becky Weber. I'm a full-time resident on Fort Myers Beach. I used to be on the community advisory board for the town. The committee kind of no longer exists right now. But I know a lot of people here, and I don't have any commercial interests on the island, but rebuilding my house. I'm currently in a rental condo and spending Groundhog Day at the house, as many of the rest of you are. Doesn't it feel like Groundhog Day every single day? So we started this committee, as I said, just about a week ago. We all got together, and I was the one that unfortunately was the first one to get up to leave the room for a little while. And when I came back, I found out that I had been elected the spokesperson for the group. Okay. And I'm not just telling you that as a joke. I'm 100% serious. That's what happened. So we've quickly put together a presentation, a meeting. We're under construction with a Facebook page. And so you'll be seeing more and more happening, especially once we get all of you involved with us. Okay. First, I want to ask the audience to understand that we'd like to hold discussion until after the presentation is over so we can get through it, and bear with us on this. What our goal is to become a unified voice for the rapid recovery, resiliency, and rebuilding of Fort Myers Beach. We hear everyone say all the time. In fact, I saw it on a news report last night. Somebody said, this isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. I'm kind of looking forward to some sprinting. What do you guys think? Now, what I'm going to ask everybody is who's in the room? Okay. And first of all, raise your hand if you're on the founding member board of Let's Go Fort Myers Beach. You can see all of us. Okay. We're small but mighty group. Rest. Yes, you can come up here and present with me. You're good. You're good at this, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is ask by show of hands of our Fort Myers Beach Town Council, because there's several members here. Please raise your hands and stand up and tell everybody who you are, because everyone should know you already, but if they don't, they're going to know you now. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, who's here is a resident of Fort Myers Beach? Now, who's here with because they're interested in businesses? They may also be a resident, but a business on Fort Myers Beach. Oh, this is terrific. So we have everybody represented here. Okay. The first thing I want to do to start off is by saying I was on Fort Myers Beach during the storm. Got off 4 days later. I have never been prouder to be an American in all of my life. The National Guard, Lee County Fire and Police, FEMA. We had search and rescue from all different cities in Florida, from Alabama, from Texas, doing search and rescue. And they were all just wonderful. I still have shivers of those several days, and I just want to say thank you to everybody, because it was just so lucky. And comparing this to, used to live in New Jersey, lived through Hurricane Sandy. I tell everybody up there, that was a summer shower in comparison to what we had down here. I'd also like to thank Lee County and Fort Myers Beach, our council and employees. During hard times, everyone did a fabulous job. Someone may not disagree with this one little thing that you did or didn't do, but overall, we are just so impressed with the quality of the employees and our representatives. So I wanted to say thank you. This meeting is not about, saying you didn't do this, you didn't do that. This meeting is saying thank you. We truly appreciate everything that you do for us. Okay. Why are we volunteering? All of us have something exciting to do today, right? And every day. Remember, it's Groundhog Day. If we don't step up and we don't help, and we're not going to get to where we want to go. We can't, excuse me, as a community, make all the phone calls to our council people, to Lee County, and to everybody else as individuals. We're driving everybody crazy besides driving ourselves crazy. Everybody has a different interest, and everyone's trying to get everybody else's ear. We're trying to get one team together so that they hear what the issues are from a consolidated community group and not from individuals making, 15 phone calls. And so do I do this? Does my community want that? So we wanted to try and help out as they've helped us out. Okay. As I said before, we're going to have the discussions at the end after the presentation, and just want to go through some of the rules. And I know I don't have to, but we're not going to make any personal attacks on anybody, especially me, please. Everybody's voice and their opinion is very important. We're going to treat everyone with the courtesy and respect they deserve. Okay. Why is it important to join this group? As well as a sign-in, we get handed out a membership list. You don't have to be a member, but it also has a priority of what is most important to you on it. So we'd like to give that back as feedback. We're creating, and it's in construction mode, a Facebook group right now. We're going to put all of the documents out so you can see exactly what's going on and what different committees are doing. We're doing this all, as public posting. Okay. So you can see what's happening in the town. But we'd love for you to get involved, because without you, we're just a few people sitting around Bev's dining room table on lawn chairs. And don't leave the room. Okay. And I apologize to my husband because I didn't tell him when to change the slide. Okay. He's the remote that's used during the storm. I just want to go quick through our mission statement. Our mission is to foster leadership, planning, and incentives for redevelopment of Fort Myers Beach that will address the needs of the community as a whole. To do this with the full participation of residents and businesses, recognizing both are needed to build back our vibrant Fort Myers Beach community and to create a defined and streamlined pathway forward. That's the important thing, defined and streamlined. Okay, you guys are challenging me to read in the dark. Okay. We need to recognize that there's a lot of opinions and there's a lot of priorities, and that's why we want everybody's opinion. That's why we wanted you to rate the priorities. We all want stores, healthcare, things to do, places to eat, entertainment, gas stations, etc. It's really tough. If you let that gas tank go too low, oh, that's ugly. Okay. But I will say, isn't it wonderful that we have a Publix back on the island again? That was such a biggie to me because I got so exhausted. By the time I'd get back, I couldn't buy ice cream. There was like a whole bunch of things I couldn't buy anymore because it was like soup when I got back because I always forgot the cooler. We're going to ask everybody that we need a Fort Myers Beach vision, a vision statement. We need a mission statement. We need a formal strategic plan, a detailed strategic plan, and detailed timelines that we as a community are going to work to follow. Okay. So that is an ask to both Lee County and to Fort Myers Beach. And in order, go back one, hon. That's okay. We'll just keep going. To achieve our goals, we need participation from the entire community. Sorry, I have to talk to my remote. Now, we have several committees, and I'm going to ask in a moment for those committee members to, I'm going to introduce them. I want them to tell you a little bit about themselves, and then they're going to present. Okay. We're looking at different committees. One is like recovery zones. Okay. We want rapid rebuild of our homes and local businesses. We want to work within the flexibility of the land development code and contribute ideas for a new comprehensive plan. There's going to be 2 subcommittees under that area. One is a business, one is a residential. Can everybody still hear me in the back? Then we have an infrastructure and design. We want to rapidly build our quality and cultural life on the beach. We want to prioritize what's important on a project-by-project basis. We want to seek consultation and funding for these priorities. There's going to be multiple subcommittees that are identified by this committee. Every time I come onto the beach and I look at the pier, for example, I want to cry. We want to go in a sprint here. Okay. And there's some real smart people that are on some of these committees that you're going to be introduced to that have some great ideas for starters. Recovery, the residential committee, and I'm going to invite Patrick to come up. And if you could introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Patrick Vass. Some of you may know me from the LPA. I'm also a beach resident for about 20 years now, and I'm a
You're taller than me, so you're going to have to move this up a bit.
I'm also a practicing professional planner. So I've been doing planning and zoning for over 25 years. When I was asked to join the committee and to be part of this committee, I immediately said yes. I'm familiar with the rebuild that happened in Charlotte County after Charlie. There was a grassroots committee that was formed, and that grassroots committee really helped council over there come up with priorities, give some direction, and give some guidance to council. These folks are working very hard, but they're hearing different opinions from many different directions. And I think this can really help them understand what the community wants to see moving forward and for us to be able to set priorities. Also, from a public infrastructure standpoint, there's been discussion about this resiliently project and the need to really lobby our elected officials in Lee County to get that money. So for us to ensure that we get our fair share of that money, we need to be organized. We need to justify our projects. We need to do our research, and we need to make their decision. So when they're presented with a project, we've got to make it easy for them to say yes. They have to understand why the money should come to Fort Myers Beach and not elsewhere in Lee County. So those were all reasons for me why it was extremely important to be part of this. I was asked to be part of the residential committee. As you folks know, on the LPA, we're doing our very best to allow people to rebuild with as little red tape as possible. So that's what I see my part being, is as part of that committee, if I can help educate folks and provide a little expertise and find ways where we can help the rebuild on an individual basis, but also identify from a residential standpoint what we want to see. My personal view is we don't have a residential rebuild problem on Fort Myers Beach. Every lot that had a home and that home was destroyed, there's going to be a buyer. Someone's coming back. So I don't know if we necessarily need to incentivize more residential, but we certainly need to incentivize the commercial to come back. That's the backbone of our economy. We also need to help the existing residents and property owners rebuild their homes, though. So we might be able to find some incentives. We might be able to lobby Lee County to get funding, and we might be able to start different programs to help the individual homeowner. And at the very least, if you folks are a little confused when it comes to our land development code and what you can or cannot do, I just want to be able to be there and answer some of your questions and help you out. So that's kind of what I see my role moving forward, and I'll be happy to help out anybody I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Couple of things that I just wanted to mention, only because they're near and dear to my heart as I drive up and down my street during Groundhog Day, is I don't know if any of the rest of you are seeing this. There's piles and piles of debris. And, we know that the county's not picking up anymore and the town's having issues. If you don't have money coming in, it's really hard to pay for things. So we want to see how we could address having that debris picked up, because it's brings us down when we're trying to rebuild our homes and you see new and you just see piles and stacks of debris everywhere. Permitting issues and education on codes. I think we as residents need some education on that. I know that I've heard from many of you, and I've experienced it myself. I think I've tried like 4 times. I've paid twice to do an electronic notice of commencement through Lee County. Okay, they still don't have record of it, even though I've showed them that I paid for it. There's so much going on, and there was so much devastation. But the question is, how can we streamline this, and how can we as residents know a better way to do it? Because you've got great employees, they're being pushed, because there's so much going on. How can we help with that? Okay. And pooling resources to find affordable and honest contractors that actually show up. Others have had this too. Builders and architects. And I know it's under infrastructure, but I have to mention it. Stormwater. I almost had to swim down the street yesterday because of the water pooling at the end of our street. We had a lake. It was this deep. Okay. So if it's on my street, it's on many of your streets as well. Our next speaker, and we're lucky to have him, Alex King, is going to be talking about Recovery for Business Committee. No, I'm wrong one. You're infrastructure, right? Okay. Okay. Scott, our wonderful Scott's going to be talking. We'll get to you, Alex. You're not getting off the hook.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited that there's so many people here. My name is Scott Safford. I've been a resident of the beach for 15 years. My wife and I, Jackie, owned a small boutique hotel, the Sea Gypsy Inn, which was right over there, and it's gone. So I have a vacation rental business, and I see some of my vacation rental competitors here. It's tough. I had 130 properties that I managed, and 80 of those properties were destroyed in the storm. Of the remaining 50, I've got 10 operational right now. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's a tough sell to convince for people to come down here. You have to set expectations. You have to tell them, hey, the island's a little rough. But it's tough. At 7 o'clock at night, I'm getting texts and emails. Hey, where can I buy ice? Where can I buy beer? You can't. My daughter just cut her foot. Is there a walk-in clinic nearby? No. Well, can I at least get a Band-Aid? No. So we're getting reviews, and reviews are saying, hey, I love the place, I love the beach, but we've got to get businesses back on their feet quickly. I mean, it's a must. Season's right around the corner, and we're not going to have the season again because the island we need small businesses. And small businesses, especially guys like myself that live on the island, we spend our money here. Right now, all our money is going off island. It's not staying here. As you can see, I guess right now there's three restaurants that have air conditioning. One of them is going to close tonight at 6 o'clock because there's no business. So it's a tough sell. Like Patrick, I'm on the LPA, where we focused getting the residents back. We have a problem with getting businesses back, especially small commercial lots. A lot of realtors are here. They can attest that those lots aren't moving. I mean, if there's existing structure, they are. But if it's a clean lot like the Gypsy, those lots just don't move. The LDC was kind of written to protect the island. But now that the island's gone, it's almost counterintuitive. It's not helping. It's actually prohibiting little guys to build back. We just don't know what we can build back, and it's just the return on investment is just not going to be there. So in several towns up north where they have neighborhoods or areas that are not good anymore, the towns will come in and actually create what's called a pink zone. And in that zone, they get rid of the red tape so that people can build back quickly. They also relieve some of the LDC things like parking. They maybe don't give you as much parking as you need now. They also might give you a little bit more height, a little bit more density. These are things we're going to talk to town council at the MMP meeting. But you know, time is of the essence. These guys worked their butts off to get this beach school back on the island, but we have a time constraint now. And with that time constraint, we're going to have businesses back and back fast. So that's what my committee is. If you guys have any questions, I'll be around afterwards. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Alex King is infrastructure and design.
Hello, everyone. I was just invited to join this just a little while ago today. But with that being said, ironically, just this morning, I spent about an hour talking with two people about how we need to get a voice for all the small businesses and get the 50 or 60 small businesses together. What is their common interest, and get one voice so we can, oh, sorry. All right. There we go. Okay. So I had to get together this morning about getting our 50 or 60 businesses together, the small businesses that were washed away, and try to get one voice together to bring a message to the town to start attacking some of the mission critical items. As you know, I'm a realtor, and all of us realtors and brokerages on the island right now have a hard time sitting still here. Is we paint a Picasso every day. We drive up and down, we show where the pier was. We paint a picture of what used to be there, what's happening with Times Square, what's happening on the south end with Santini Plaza, what's happening with everything. But it's 9 months later and I'm running out of stories. So when the opportunity was presented to me to say, get involved, I said, okay. I usually don't get on any committees, but if I can help the contractors, the builders, the planners, the engineers, they're much smarter than I am, and inspire you guys to come up and get together with me to try to get a mission, a statement, a vision presented properly to the town, I'm glad to stand here. So that's why I'm here. So I'll read some of these items here as well. Okay. So as we just mentioned, we need the pier addressed. I mean, what's happening with it? I haven't heard anything. Bike paths. You know, we sell the lifestyle and the dream here. That's all I do every day. Our lifestyle and dream, our bike paths, our walkways, our sidewalks. What's happening with our stormwater improvements? The lighting. We have so much going on with lighting between turtles and maybe yellow lights coming in. But I'm really not aware what, where's the traction on it? We have dark areas on the south end that's scary that are not lit up. Our transportation systems, our workforce, bringing the workers over. Parking garage, probably one of the biggest items on here. Everyone's talking about it, where to put it, how to do it. We need ideas and solutions. We need you folks to come up with those ideas. Purchasing property, beach access, neighborhood parks, public bathrooms and strategic locations. It's always not in my neighborhood, but what is strategic? We need bathrooms out there. Community policing, safety. Visiting and design of Old San Carlos and Times Square. That's a huge project. We have great visionaries in the audience here. Berm dune coastal hardening improvements. I was just standing on a berm this morning and taking pictures for someone in Canada, sending it up there. They're wondering, why is it taking so long? What's going on with it? What's the plan? What's the timeline? Employee housing. We hear this all the time. Corridor improvements and landscaping of San Carlos Boulevard, improved northern window. I always talk about this. Every beach I've been to around the country, Myrtle Beach, Fort Myers Beach, other beaches, the road going into the beach is an eyesore. What can we do to beautify it? To set the stage for coming over the bridge to see what they're going to see. All right, so there's many challenges ahead in order to take advantage of the opportunity to build a resilient infrastructure to make us better than it was. Some things we know we want the pier. We're very clear on that. But other opportunities, we're not really sure what we want, how we want it. So we need to come together for that. Most of them will require planning and studies, research grants, and the full participation of Lee County, Town of Fort Myers Beach, FEMA, State of Florida, Fort Myers Beach residents, and our businesses. I've listed here just a few of the many projects this committee will look at. And as you can see, we have a lot of work ahead. We know Fort Myers Beach will not look the same, so the opportunity is to make it what we want. Great walkability, better traffic, good restaurants, vibrant lifestyle, family businesses, entertainment, parking, and to enjoy our beach. Walking and fishing, boating, living the beach life. There you go. Thank you.
Down to midget level. Okay. Before we get to next steps, I'm going to ask two of our founding members who have not yet spoken to come up and introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them. The person that got me involved in this, I'm going to ask Bev Milligan to come on up, introduce yourself. And she's been doing all the work behind all of these documents that you see. And we've been driving her crazy as we tried to put together everything in a matter of a few days. And she's not coming up. she's hiding in the back with Jackie. Zach, who's hiding. I see you.
Hello there. This is unexpected, so forgive me in advance for whatever comes out of my mouth now. But hello, it's good to see you. What a turnout. This is extraordinary. It's just really great to see everybody's face and see you here, because we all care about this island so much. My story, live on Andre Mar Drive, resident, and we had to go to the studs on Undermine. Luckily, we were able to keep the house, but we have gone to the studs and we're focusing on that primarily. We also had Myerside Resort and Cottages. It was a 1 acre property on Estero Boulevard that is between schools, the library and the beach pool, and Oak Street and the elementary school in Bay Oaks in the back, and Estero Boulevard on the front. They were historic cottages. We are still grieving a little bit. We just got out of the anger phase and we're at the acceptance phase that the Myerside that we knew and loved is gone. But we are going to rebuild. We're going back to council. My real story here, the point that where we need help is I was told the other day that we need to have, in order to even put our application in, we need a traffic report. Okay, so there are 6 hotels existing on the island right now, and I've got to pay $7,000 for a traffic report. that is, of course, going to say it's okay because all the traffic reports say it's okay if you're going to council. That $7,000 should be going to my rebuild. It shouldn't be going to that. So those are the kinds of things that we need to really, really help council help us. Thank you again for coming.
I'm going to ask Terry Prasad to come up here and introduce himself. That's where he got these great T-shirts from, and they'll be available, and we'll get information out about them, as well as wonderful ideas. Thank you, Terry.
Good afternoon, everyone. As she said, my name is Terry Prasad. I own the old Sunset Grill in Times Square. And as you know, Times Square is all gone. For the last 8 months, I've been trying to figure out how to rebuild my business, Times Square, and our community. And I've reached out to everyone in this community, from Jackie, Chamber of Commerce, Scott, council members, the county officials, and everyone has been very supportive. But no one has been able to give me a plan or give me directions or advise us how we can move forward. So I've been trying to create a community like this for the last 8 months and trying to rebuild our community. And it's great to see everybody out here. We'd like you to share your ideas. And the most importantly is that if we don't work together, we will never get this community built back. Thank you.
Okay. Currently, our next steps is we're going to do a presentation to the town of Fort Myers Beach Management and Planning Group on June 22nd. That's why we rushed to get everything out with this, so we can start hearing from people and turn this really into a community group with one voice to council instead of 50, 75 voices and phone calls coming in. We'd like to request a council and staff liaison for us to help us out, give us direction. What's the best way to get through to people? Staff have been great. Council's been great. This is not a, you haven't been kind of conversation here. It's help us to help you. So because we're one team. We're the Fort Myers Beach team. We need to complete our committees. That's why we passed out all of the, please become a member and join our committees and help us have your voices heard. Okay. And we need to continue to have locations where to meet. We thank Diamond Head. This was fabulous of them to allow us to use this space. We will be again probably asking, I'm not sure that anyone has a big enough house to have everybody, maybe some of the subcommittees, and somebody's house is maybe done enough that we could sit around patio tables, that we can meet in that way for subcommittees. We're going, as I said, we've got the Facebook page in process. I'm trying to get information out on Nextdoor as well. We'll be holding monthly town hall meetings for all members to report to the community where we are, where we've gotten to, and get feedback on it. So every single month, there'll be a very public venue such as this to say, okay, this is what's happened since last time we met. We've done this, we've done this. This isn't working really well. We have to find another way, and to continue to get feedback. And we'll be getting to that point where we're going to be turning this over for discussion. And we need to create a timeline for achieving the goals. Remember, no marathons here. We're sprinting, okay? We need to sprint. We need to get our paradise back. We need to get our vacationers back as soon as we possibly can. In conclusion, We believe that due to the catastrophe which hit Fort Myers Beach, extraordinary flexibility and measures need to be supported in order for our community to recover. Okay? We need flexibility. Never before done, perhaps, but it's required now. We believe that working together as one community is the only proper way to do it. We don't want to separate out businesses and council and residents. We want one team. We believe working together will help government at all levels help us, which we've discussed already. We believe there's a way to find consensus and not division in our community, and focus on the positive movement forward, and celebrate that positivity. We all are in Groundhog Day. At the end of the day, we always try and find something positive. Like, I found a hammer. That's a positive thing. I'm going, there's a question for, we have over 60 people that are on 150. We have 150 people that are watching the live stream on Facebook. And I'm going to get those forms to Ed, as well as I've started, and I know it's kind of lame right now. Bear with me. I was in the middle of doing it, lost electricity in the storm the other day and lost everything. But there is a site on Facebook. It's called Let's Go FMB. And I set it up as a group. So if you look at Facebook groups, you'll find Let's Go FMB, and I will get those forms out there for you. And you can also join that group. So, excuse me. So I'll start getting all of those documents out, all of these documents out, and you'll find them there, as well as I said, I'll send them to, it is Groundhog Day, yes. So let's go Fort Myers Beach, and come on, let's hear it. We're going to be great. We are great. We're going to be better than we ever were before. Now, what I'd like to do is open up the meeting for discussion and questions. And the only way anyone's going to hear you is if you come up here. So I'm going to back away by hands, like the first person that wants to come up and talk. Wonderful. Come on up. Introduce, and if you could introduce yourself, that'd be great. I know you, but.
Hi, Jennifer Rusk, resident. I actually had a question for Scott. I wanted to know what the smaller businesses, can you give me a few examples of the red tape that smaller businesses are having?
Well, it's not so much red tape, it's what I can rebuild on my lot. So my lot's a corner lot. I have setback requirements. I have height restrictions. It's going to be really difficult to build a 4-bedroom inn. You know, the numbers just don't work. And the size of the box just doesn't work with my setbacks. So we're finding that out on several lots, especially along Estero Boulevard. Another red tape for me is because anything on this side of Estero Boulevard, I'm going to have to get a DEP permit. So I'm looking right now 6 months to a year out just for that. And now I can go before council and ask for a CPD for my property, but you're talking, just like Bev said, $7,000 for a traffic study for a 4-bedroom inn. Come on. We just need a little bit more height. We need a little bit more density, or these lots aren't going to sell. And what's going to happen is these lots are going to be combined, and we're going to end up with 7 Margaritavilles. No offense to Margaritaville, I can't wait for it to open. But does this island really want 7 massive resorts? And if we create a pink zone, what you can do, you can put a poison pill in there that lots can't be assembled. You've got like a 1 to 3 year window. And council can set it up any way they want to, but they can set up a 1 to 3 year window on existing lots only, so they can't be assembled. So what happens is in towns like Cleveland's a good example where a area, let's say the shopping mall just decays, all the houses around there decay, becomes crack houses, slums. What happens is the town will go in and declare that area a pink zone. And then they loosen up the red tape. They try to find some grant money. They try to fast track the rebuild. And then, you know, they give some other incentives like height, density, FAR. So it encourages people to build back and build back quickly. Get rid of the red tape, reduce the expense, get businesses back.
I've been asked, and I'll get you, you come up here, sir, and ask your question. And while he's walking up, I'm going to tell everybody that there are T-shirts available at cost of $20 in case anybody wants to buy one, because people have already asked me. Okay, come on up. Introduce yourself.
Hi, folks. My name is Mike Moran. I'm a property owner on a canal.
I want to get closer to that.
I'm a property owner on a canal. And what a lot of people don't understand is the cleanup was all surface. The canals are full of sand, full of mud. They're not navigable. They're going to grow full of grass. The boat lifts can't go down anymore. The taxes that come from the houses on the canals are huge. And these houses are not going to have the value if they don't have the water. When this whole thing started, we looked into it, and the feds will actually pay for the dredging if the town applies, which the town did apply. What's going on with it? Nobody knows. But all these canals, the grass is starting to grow in them. The boats can't go down because they're full of mud. I don't know if you remember when they opened up the bridge and you can go across to past Lover's Key. There was 3 feet, 4 feet of sand. Well, the sand all blew away in most of the lots, but where it landed in the water, it didn't blow away. So you got 3 feet less of water in all these canals. And if they're not taken care of, it's going to turn into a disaster. Some frog's going to move in there and they're not going to let us clean them. So it's got to be clean before the frogs find out. So with that being said, the government is aware of this. They will pay for the dredging. So we don't want that money that they're going to give us for the dredging to go to other projects. We did our work to get the dredging available and committed and so on and so forth, but I don't know how to follow up on it, and that's why I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for that one. I just added that as a bullet point to the residents list. Who's next? Questions? Come on up. I feel like Vanna White.
My name is Bruce Butcher. I live in Laguna Shores. With my neighbors. Thank you, neighbors. My question for the group, and specifically the business people and Alex here, what is the absolute restrictions from FEMA that stalls things? What, like Times Square, what can we do there? Where's the FEMA restriction on that? And is there flexibility? My understanding is in Monroe County, Key West, they backed off of some FEMA level. I'm not exactly sure what happened in terms of getting insurance down there. Did it go up? Because we have a discount here in Fort Myers Beach of approximately 25% on our FEMA flood insurance because the town follows the FEMA code. If we didn't follow that code, what would that do to relax some of the issues in terms of building? So I'd be very curious to understand what the hard and fast rules are that FEMA is going to limit us. And then is there some way of breaking that if that's a problem for us? The heights and things. She knows everything?
I might have the answer.
Okay.
Good evening, Paula Kiker. I was a resident here for 29 years and I moved off, but I do own a business here still. I also have a home in Key West, Florida. And I have been studying how they get away with everything, building on the ground floor. They told NFIP goodbye, and they don't get their 15% discount. And I have been telling councils for years, begging them to look into what Monroe County is doing. They build everything on the ground in Old Town. We have a 15% discount, I believe, still on Fort Myers Beach. And I was part of the education process that worked with the town and the residents to get that discount. If the rumors are true that 85% of this beach does not carry flood insurance, why do we need 15% discount? I urge the council again to look into the NFIP program. And if only 15% of our residents want to save a few $1,000s a year, it's probably not worth it.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Who's got a mortgage in this audience? How many people with mortgages? Okay. Do you have to carry insurance for your mortgage? If we don't follow FEMA rules, will you have an insurance company willing to insure you? There's your answer. No, insurance companies can back out and say, you're not part of the FEMA program, we're out. You got other options for sure. Yes, definitely want to look into it. Yeah.
When we start looking at that, Friends of Ours have a place on Sanibel. And they were saying that they don't have the big issue with the 50-50 build from the FEMA and they build ground floor. I don't know, and this is actually a question of why it's good to look into. What is Sanibel done and what are they doing? Because they're also located in Lee County.
I do believe Sanibel has the 50% rule also, so there's no way out. Jane Plummer, for the record. I wasn't really coming up to answer that question, but I do believe Sanibel has the 50% rule, so that's a rumor that they don't have it. Some of them are self-insured and don't really care, so they are doing what they want to do to repair and moving forward. But what I wanted to bring up was you come with a lot of problems up here, and we all know what the problems are. How are we fixing them? Because the LPA, the town council, the permit people, they all have rules and guidelines that they have to go by. And until we fix that, there's no leniency. There's no way around for, 2 over parking or density to transfer or anything like that. We can't just say, okay, pie in the sky, we've had a storm. Let's just build whatever anybody wants. And if they've got the money, do it. Well, that would be great. But that's not real world. That's not going to happen. And until we come up with a way, there was a book that was made up after Hurricane Charlie that could fast track permits. The fact that I've talked to 2 people who are having to get a variance to get the permit or their fence exactly where it was on this island makes me sick. They're spending $2,500 for the permit to put the fence back where it was and have to go for 2 months to go to the LPA and then to town council. That is ridiculous. That should be fast tracked. It should be administrative. It should go through. That is taking up our time. And by putting the 2 the businesses and the residential all going through the same permit process. We need to figure out a way to streamline businesses this way, have a group that can get those things done and streamlined before it comes back to the planners, have the residents over here going like this and get through there so that they can get their permits and get moving forward and get their inspections and get done. And I do believe that we should open up to whatever seems reasonable to get people back in their houses, give them what they had, give them a little more, help them. Let's get them back in their homes. I mean, if we don't get our residents back in their homes on this island, we lose them. And we're going to be totally a tourist community. There isn't going to be a street on this island that needs 30-day rentals because nobody will be here for 30 days. Well, that would be great. But we have to start with something to get something to move forward, or get the town to agree to do something in a expedited thing. You can't just come to us now and say, you know, we want you to do this, because our rules are we have to follow these guidelines to say yes to you. So you gotta start at the source, at the permit, at the town, so that they are willing to make those changes to expedite us through. Otherwise, our hands are tied at the LPA and the town council. You know, that's just the way it is. You want to ask me a question? Okay.
And I have to say, I couldn't agree with you more.
Come here.
So, I'm going to
Tell your name for the record.
I'm Rebecca Link. My husband Hugh, we have 2 properties on the island. And I couldn't agree with you more. Because we have 2 properties, I'm learning things from the first one that'll help me with the second one. But why should we all have to learn the same things? So I have been trying to volunteer whatever experience I could bring to this, to the people, and I've had a hard time finding people to work with. So here's a bunch of people, and I have 2 options I'm going to throw out there. One is anybody who needs help with notice of commencement. Come and see me after. I will help you, or I will take it for you. I will bring it back to you. I could make a run down there and make this process so easy. If you are a builder or a contractor and you're wasting your time going downtown, we could consolidate that and make one thing more simple. Every time I explain this to a neighbor or a friend, they're like, tell me that again. And I think, why don't I just do it for people? Come to me. I'll tell you where I live. Put your thing in my mailbox. I'll have it back to you in a week. You know, let me do something for you that I've learned. That's what I can offer. Isn't a big thing, but maybe one thing that would be helpful. Another thing is when it gets to permitting. God, you know, I have one house that still doesn't have doors on. Things go missing all the time. Stuff wants to be delivered, but I can't put it in there because it won't stay forever. I can't get a door on my house to save my life. There are people here who could figure out the door problem. There's a permit issue with the door. They need a certain form. Oh, my guys use the old form. Let's have pop-up committees. Maybe we can organize this through the committee that says, hey, I know about NOCs. You guys say, I'll be on the committee for a pop-up that's about doors and windows. Everybody can ask their questions to me. I'm willing to put some posts out on best practices, or here's the form, or here's a template for a permit application for windows. If you do it like this, it's going to help the permitting department because it should look like this. We're asking all these other people to do things for us. What can we do for ourselves to make it easier for them? So I will help with notice of commencement. If anybody needs one, wants to understand it, come to me. I'll get it done for you. And I'll keep doing it if I can help. Again, little pop-up committees. You guys, I'm listening to you guys. You have so much experience. A pop-up committee, and it goes away. It's like not the be all and end all, but how can I help a bunch of people do this one thing that I have experience on? Then I'm going to go away. Maybe some FAQs that remain will help the next group. But so I'm willing to even help facilitate pop-up groups. That's my offer.
One quickie. That was fabulous. Thank you so much. I just wrote down help forum so that there's a place that I'm going to put in there as I work to create this, for help forums and FAQs, because I don't know how to get around this.
Or a
It-
Zoom meeting that's, today, we're gonna talk about how you get a permit for doors and windows. Anybody wants to join, we're gonna have a couple people.
This is
who've gone
abs-
through the process. I wanna share what I've learned
Thank
so
you.
bad, but I only can talk to 3 neighbors.
Well, that's why we have this group, because we need people like you. Thank you.
It's gonna be a big bend down there. Hi, my name is Samir Malvia. I represent a builder called Homebound. We entered this market in January to help the rebuild efforts. You know, a lot of people in this room. Hello. So I have two sort of, just to echo on the comments that were just made. I think number one is there's a ton of institutional knowledge in this room and sort of around the island. So for example, we've gone through 5 variance applications. We've changed some zoning requirements with the LPA and council. How are we publishing that information? Like, for example, the setbacks on the parallelogram lot streets. You know, the 10 residents that Homebound works with may know what those are, but maybe not everybody does. So there's got to be a central repository of this kind of information that is accessible to everybody. And number two is town staff I've found to be very, very competent. We need to empower them a little bit more to make decisions or administrative variances, things like that, so that I don't come to the LPA meeting every single week. I love you all, but Homebound's at the LPA meeting every single week, and other builders are as well, to fight for various things that could, I think, be handled by town staff. So I think we need to think through how we empower town staff to head things off at the pass before they get to the LPA or the council. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm John McLean. We live on Egret Street and have a house in Delmar that we live in currently. I am so excited by this. The ability to scale from each other's learnings is incredible. And I think the power of social media is going to help us considerably. But I think we're going to have a lot of cooperation with the town and staff. And I spoke very early. I know Joe Orlandini was involved. There was a group that were looking to try and streamline the permitting process and the building requirements. And when I asked a direct question about that, the town attorney said that he'd been advised that due to sunshine laws, council wasn't able to participate in receiving this incredible wealth of information that we have in amongst us, our residents here. So I'm not exactly sure what the solution for that is, but I do know that we are going to have the cooperation of staff, of our great council. Love you guys. Absolutely. But we're going to need to really fulfill, I think, what the goal of this is, and what I am so excited about is to actually have it be something that can be accepted, institutionalized. The feedbacks to the town council are obviously one part of it, but we're going to need some participation from people that can make those decisions. I know you're on the LPA. It's great. I've been to one of the meetings. I've watched them all online if I can't make them. But that's an area that I think is missing. There's a gap between what everybody knows, how we can teach each other, but then how can we get that? How can we make the change in the codes that we need, the change in the planning? I mean, we all have visions. They're all different from each other's, but I think this is an opportunity to provide a unified voice that will maintain the character that we all want, with understanding that some things are going to change, some things need to be complied with, but also to help everybody. And I know there's such a great spirit amongst the leadership in this town now to help support the residents and businesses, which is thank God. If anything good has come out of this, that's what's come out of this. I'd like to get involved in any way I can. Not sure what I bring to the table other than I'm recently retired, so I have time. Thank you.
Terry Prasad again. I'm also a resident. I've been on the island for over 10 years. Anyone that wants to participate, please fill out the forms and we'll be getting in contact with you. And to respond to Ms. Plummer's suggestions, what this organization is about is to get all the brain power in this room and all the brain power in our community, like Patrick and Scott and everyone else, and start figuring out what's the solution to these problems we just showed you, and bringing it to council and bringing it to LPA and creating the ping zone that Scott explained to you about so that we can start moving forward. So please, if you want to participate, fill out the forms and we'll begin backing to you and getting you to participate in our groups. Thanks.
Come on up. And I know you're short as me, so. Well, maybe not quite as short as me.
Hi, I'm Tree Andre. I've been a part of this community for many, many years. I was a business owner on Mango Street Inn for quite some time. We're all devastated, of course, by what we've experienced with Hurricane Ian. I have two things that I would just like to mention. Number one, to go along with this fine lady who has offered her help with permitting. We at Lahaina Realty offer notary services. We have somebody in our trailer from 10 until 2, Monday through Friday. We don't charge for it. Please feel free to come and see us. We're happy to do that for you. The other thing, and it's hard to mention this because it's going to sound like a negative, and I don't mean it to be, but we all know that the safety on Estero Boulevard has been an issue for a very, very long time. Driving, bicycle riding, walking, and it's especially difficult right now. We have people who are having rebuild. The construction trucks are not just on the sidewalk, they're into the bike lane and they're into the traffic. It's very unsafe. I'm not sure what we can do to control that, get people to be in an area that makes it more safe. But I assure you, our whole island, I believe, will be better off if we can get that aspect under control, just in terms of traffic going through. We know that we have a lot of people who are looky-loos trying to take pictures of everything that's going on the beach. We all want things to move forward, and I would like to see that happen. And I'm not sure who is in charge of that or how we could do it, but I think it would make things a little safer. Thank you.
Are you on the way up here, sir? Nope. The bar. We'll make sure that you're out of here before 6.
Hi, Bill Grady. I'm a resident on Connecticut Street, a retired builder. It took me 18 months. It took me 18 months to permit a garage in 2019. And I have to say some of that, was the, where do you put your water, all that good stuff, but 18 months. I'll also say that the people in the building department were very good, pretty nice. They helped us. When you go to the website right now and you say, I want to remodel my home, I'm a owner builder, which is what I did. They show 2 forms. Fill out these forms, and if you send those 2 forms in, you'll get immediately bounced and you'll get a rejection letter in the mail. So I would offer to the council members here, as a suggestion, what I've done to a lot of my neighbors, I've given them my building permit number and said, look through every form that I have there. You need every single one of those forms. So I think, and then when you look at the website at the town, it says, call us, we'll be happy to help. Well, I went down there and I was escorted by an armed guard. This is many months ago. And then talked to someone who gave me a sticky note that said, this is the Florida code, go look it up. Well, it took me a month and I did get my rejection letter. Then I answered 38 pages of scanned documents and I did get my permit. It then took a month to get the electrician approved. So my suggestion to the council would be is we need to publish every single form that's required and make it easy for people to know up front, here's what's required versus here's these 2 forms and we know you're going to get a rejection letter. And I should also say again, as I've interacted with the people down there, They've been very helpful and very nice. But I think the starting point could be very simple of it's not 2 forms. These are the 15 items you need, and these are the ones that need to be notarized. My simple suggestion, I'm happy to help on this and anybody that would like to, but there are people there that know exactly every form that needs to be filled out. It would make a lot easier. The knock is I kind of smile. You go downtown, you get it filled out, it's simple. If you don't fill it out, it's the big stop because it very simply means if you pay your roofer, the roofer hadn't paid his subs, the subs can sue you. And that's why they won't let you have a permit until you have the notice of commencement done. You're exactly right. But my suggestion is very simple. If the town could speak to whoever's in charge of it, list every single form that's required. If you're a resident and you want to remodel your home, and again, we're blessed that we can remodel our home. First 7 houses on our block are gone. I think that would be a simple thing to help everybody in the audience. Thank you.
I'm so excited. I'm learning how to do things and what I have to do next and who I can ask. I don't know if I can see a show of hands. Do people feel good about what we're doing here, getting this committee going? I'm so happy to hear that. And everyone's being so open-hearted and trying to help everybody else out. And this is why it's so important for us to rebuild this community. I don't want to be part of another community. I want to remain here with all of you. None of us want to have to leave. Is there anyone else that wants to make any comments or any other great ideas? Come on up. And let me move this up. You're a little tall. There we go.
My name's Sean O'Brien. I've lived down at Snook Bight for 5 years. I took a little advantage of the situation. Our boat left Monday morning at 5 a.m., but now we're sitting up at Sarasota. But we've been here for since 91. I was kind of curious. I've spent a lot of time watching videos, and I'm a real estate agent. I've contacted people up in Alabama post-hurricane, and I haven't seen where I would have thought by now the governor would have set up a committee or they would have had consultants come from other parts that we're not unique. There's been a lot of communities devastated by hurricanes over the years. It seems like by now there'd be a committee started with consultants that you can, if there was a Balfour person on a flight a couple of days ago, my wife and I were on and I talked to them. They know more about hurricanes you can ever imagine because they go all around the country putting them back together. And I would have thought by now the city council or the governor or somebody would have had consultants come in on file, and instead of the local residents, taxpayers, voters / trying to recreate, the mousetrap, people would come in and tell us how to do it. There's people out there, there's communities out there that's done it all over the time. And every time a community does it, they find a better way to do it than they did it in the past. And that's the way the United States has always done stuff. But I haven't heard any of it. Maybe it's here. I don't know. But the micro, or I'm an old jarhead, the squad level stuff we're discussing, that's great for this kind of venue. But you get up to a battalion decision, which is what's going to change or what's going to set the standard for this island. San Carlos Island, Little Hickory, all of these things are impacted. This is 50 years. And the little decisions we're making now are going to affect generations to come. Just like some of the decisions that were made here early in the 70s, whether it helped or hurt the growth of Fort Myers Beach. And that's one thing I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen anybody, whether it's, we have a large tax base here. We don't have a lot of voters. We're not going to get a lot of attention because we can't ring the bell. We're not Cape Coral. We used to live there. You got enough people over there. If you have a problem, you can call the governor's office. You can have something done. Fort Myers Beach has got a huge tax base. There's just not enough voters. So the question is, how do you make the noise? Right after the hurricane, you had the eyes of the world were on us. That's kind of gone now. The time frame is worn out on that. So where do we go to get a consultant, the consultant class, as they call it in government, that comes in and actually knows all the answers to all the questions we have? And then the governor can have people. There's plenty of tax money. There's plenty of state money, FEMA money. All you got to do, we sit out every day and watch these people out in the mangroves pulling dead wood out on their pontoons, cashing in FEMA, thousands of dollars a week to pull dead wood out of the mangroves. That's the kind of money that could be going to what you all are discussing now for houses, for sidewalks, for things like that. That's the kind of stuff that really is going to have an impact on the island. But they're spending money on it. Was the last time I saw it was over $60 billion FEMA money. $60 billion. That's going to impact a lot of stuff. I don't know how much it's going to impact everybody sitting in a seat right here. But that's what I want to do. I'd like to see somebody that organizes some kind of big picture for a consultant to come in and say, well, this is what we did in Alabama. This is what we did in Louisiana. This is what we did here. This is how we streamline the rebuilding of houses. This is how we help businesses. Because as much as we all want to do what I've heard in here, it's 5 or 6 years. Alex knows, he's in real estate. It's 5 or 6 years before this island looks anywhere close to what it looks like now. I mean, it's going to take that long. Just landscaping and stuff. I used to we've lived here. We've walked every inch of this beach with our Yorkie. We've gone all over every place. We biked the whole place. It's going to be a long time coming back. And there's the push on the commercial side, which is what's happening with the beach, the land, the big parcels, real estate's best use. That's going to change. The streets on the other side of Estero, the bay side, those are going to be larger houses. The streets are going to be larger houses. It's going to be different just because of building codes. But I think the big footprint of the island could be set, and the town council would have a big master plan if somebody were to come in and be engaged to say, what can we do? This works someplace else. Let's put it on our level with our stamp of approval by the voters that live on the island, so we can kind of set up what's going to happen in the future. I don't know. I've tried to get around the town council and see, but that's my curiosity is why don't we have consultants coming in that can cut through all the problems that we're talking about here now? And I think there's got to be out there.
Great ideas, concerns. Looking forward to working with all of you. I'll get the paperwork on your joining subcommittees, feedback on help forums. We need everybody to take a part in this and help us for next steps, because only you are going to make this happen. You turn into us, Fort Myers Beach. Again, thank you to Diamond Head. They're planning on keeping the bar open another half hour. I know I've said this three times, but they've just been so gracious to us, and I'm sure we're going to be asking them for the room again and the loan of their equipment. Thank you all for coming today. I turned it off.